show with Esty. We have so much to get to on this show. Of course, we're going to be taking all of your guys' questions live. But first, let me let you know if you missed any of our previous shows, you can check them out over at yourrealityrecaps.com/bbcan. Not just for this season, but all the previous seasons of Big Brother. All your house guest interviews are over there, recaps. If you're watching this back later, you should have been watching it live on YouNow. Make sure you head to yourrealityrecaps.com/YouNow, become a fan. It's completely free. You can chat in the chat room when we're live, get alerted every time we go live as well, like tomorrow at 6 p.m. when we will be live with Damien, and Sunday at 6 p.m. when we will be live with Mark. Boo. Of course. You guys know, I'm kidding. And we are live every night of the week, so make sure you become a fan over there. Of course, if you want to help support our shows, consider becoming a patron. Patrons get access to the patron-only Facebook group, prize giveaways, weekly shows just for patrons, and of course, the after shows with the house guests like the one we're doing with Esty after this show that I forgot to remind her of before we went live. But that's okay. Of course, you can always do a one-time donation at yourrealityrecaps.com/PayPal, or if you have any Amazon shopping to do, use our link. If you are on YouTube, thumbs up and subscribe on YouTube, hit that bell, leave a comment. iTunes, 5-star rating and a nice review is really helpful too. But let's get to the lady that you all want to hear from. It's Esty! How are you doing, Esty?
I'm okay. Trying to transition back into my normal life still, but I'm doing good.
Everybody loves a transition back into the real world, and you are enjoying it. You are doing it well. Is postseason Big Brother life what you thought it would be like? Because we know that you were a Big Brother, super fan of the game. So did it meet? I want to say, did it meet your expectations?
I honestly didn't know what to expect before getting out, but I think that, I did kind of expect to, for social media obviously to grow and to for everyone to have fans that you would reach out to and talk to, and so all of those did meet my expectations, and yeah, it's been nice.
Well, that is fun. Everybody loves a post-season of Big Brother and these shows because we get to talk with you. Now, let everybody know. Make sure you spread the word. Let everyone know we're live. Megaphone, square, up arrow, right here in YouNow. Spread the word. Let everyone know that we are live. Of course, become a fan. And Esty, in the tradition of all of her fellow house guests, has graciously agreed that the number one fan, it's your choice. Skype call or autograph. The choice is yours.
Yeah.
So, let's get into some of the questions that we have for you. For starters, I want to take this one from Susie, who wants to know, how did it feel to be in the game and playing with Kiki? Did you feel that you two had a connection, right from the start? Was it something you felt like you had to, build over time, or was that connection just instant for the both of you?
I think it was pretty much instant. I think that I remember the first day I saw her, she really stuck out from the rest to me just because she seemed like such a confident girl, and she was just not in everybody's faces, and just she seemed so real. And then by the second day, I finally got the chance, because there's so many people, right? And you're trying to talk to everybody. And the second day, we finally got a chance to kind of talk one-on-one. And the first thing we said is, I vibe with you. And she said it right back. And it was just wow. So and we were both feeling it. And so the connection was definitely very instant.
Right.
And I'm just very happy that I have her, because having her in that house just meant so much to me, and it really gave me a peace of mind as well. So it was a wonderful thing that I found her in that show.
Love it. I want to take two kind of big questions. I think a lot of people are kind of going to be asking this question in different ways. So let me start with first. Was talking to the live feeders part of your strategy playing Big Brother? Because there are some people that love, players that game-splain, like personally me, and I think a lot of people that are here watching you right now love it, but then there are other people who'll be like, no, we don't like when they talk to the cameras, it feels manipulative. What was, like, your thought process behind talking to the cameras?
A lot of the time when I would talk to the cameras, sometimes it was a way for me to get my thoughts out, because no matter what, you're always going to hold, like, even from Kiki, like, I didn't tell her, like, I told her 99% of things, but there was that 1% that I wasn't able to open up to her about. And so talking to the cameras was a way for me to just, like, let it leave my body and put it into words so that I know what was happening.
Right.
At the same time, it's kind of like a way, because when you're in the house, you do feel a little bit lonely at times, and that was definitely a way for me to just, like, feel like maybe somebody's watching and maybe there's a conversation that can be had and it makes you feel a little bit less lonely. So yeah, it wasn't necessarily part of my game strategy. It was just something that happened naturally.
And I mean, I love it, because I don't think there's just so many times in the game where we watch you guys having a conversation and we don't know if you're saying that because you believe it, or you're saying that because you're trying to influence the person, or you're trying to plant a seed. So personally, I love it when you guys let us know what's going on in your head. I love it.
Yeah, it's a great way for everybody back at home to know, like, what's actually happening, because we only get so much to say in the diary room, right? So that way it's for the fans to know what we're actually thinking.
Right. And not edited.
Yeah, exactly.
We love a not edited thought. All right, now, I think this is probably going to be your most confrontational question, which is why I'm going to kind of ask it to you instead of letting other people. A lot of people loved you and Kiki, playing together, like being a team in the game. But there were times in the house where, like, we saw you by yourself and you kind of didn't prioritize her as high as Dane, let's say, in situations. So was that, what was that for you? Was that really how you would have went through? Would Dane really have been your priority over Kiki? Or were you just, like, working out what to say in a conversation? What was your thought process when you were doing that?
So while I was in the house, I never thought, like, the idea of going against Kiki never ever crossed my mind. Mm-hmm. I knew that I was always going to have her back. She was my number one. She was above Dane. She was above Damien. She was above Mackie. She was above anybody else in the house. However, in instances where Dane would come, because I knew that Dane was closer to Adam and therefore had a say in Sam. And so I knew that I had a closer relationship to Dane than Kiki had to Dane. And so Dane was looking out for me more than he was looking out for Kiki. And so in instances where Dane would come to me and say, like, I made a deal with Adam and Sam to keep you safe, I couldn't say, okay, but now you need to make sure that Kiki's there, because I knew that that would be putting my relationship with Dane in a weird place. And I thought that by Adam and Sam having my back for Dane, I would be able to also have Kiki's back. And so that's one of those things, one of the deals that I never told Kiki about, because I never wanted her to question whether she was my number one or not, because she was. And I know that, like, looking at it from outside in, it might look that way, but it was never that way. I never I never would have chosen them over her. It was just just trying to protect myself, and by having myself protected, I thought that I would be able to also protect Kiki along the way. So yeah.
Okay, so follow up to that, Melanie wants to know, how come you didn't tell Kiki about the guys' alliance first instead of telling Dane first?
I don't remember that. I honestly don't remember me telling Dane before, but I'll take your guys' word for it.
Okay, we're going to believe Melanie.
Melanie. I don't know. I think that actually Kiki already knew, because it was Kira who told me and Kiki first. And then I went to Dane. So actually, Melanie, I'm sorry, but that's wrong, because I remember a conversation in the blue room where Kira came to Kiki and I to tell us about the guys' alliance. And then that's when I went to go tell Dane. So Kiki already knew.
Okay, maybe we didn't get to see. Maybe feeds weren't on you when you did that. Maybe that's what it was. Okay, let me take another question. Over from Janet, Janet La, who says, do you think it would have helped you to stay longer in the game if you would have made different alliances with other people? / who do you wish you would have worked with in the game? Like, is there anybody that you didn't get to work with that you wish you would have worked with in the game?
Absolutely. I think that probably the main person that I wish I could have worked or like trusted was maybe Chelsea, because I had Mackie, but obviously he left. But I think if Mackie had stayed, he would have been able to win a couple comps. But aside from Mackie, obviously because he left early, there was Chelsea, and I think that when Chelsea came to me to talk about why we should keep her, at the time I didn't believe it, because she was so close to Adam and so close to Sam, and Sam would have never ever went against Adam, and that's why I just could never picture myself truly working with Sam.
Right.
But Chelsea, I think that in her mind she was ready to go against the guys, but I just couldn't believe it because we didn't build that trust beforehand, and especially when the moment that she put Kiki on the block, that was it for me. I went up to her room after she put up after the veto competition, or after she put her up, and I was like, I'm willing to do whatever you want. But that was just me lying for Kiki, just to make sure that they would take her off the block.
Right.
When in reality, the moment she put Kiki up, I was like, it's over. Like, I'm never gonna trust you again. But I wish I would have.
I feel like now I am a moderator. Well, I guess that is what I am. And I have this is the only problem of me doing these. I have the worst memory, so I really don't remember the details now. Here is Melanie's follow-up. So Melanie is rebutting now. Melanie says, Chelsea told you in the pantry and Kiki went to bed. That's when you went to Dane in the HOH room showing him the hand signal.
No, so Kira had told us way before that day, actually, before Chelsea talked to me. So we already heard about it, but we thought Kira was just literally like lying. I thought that they were not telling the truth at all about it, because there were some instances that happened before where it's just like I didn't trust Kira and anything that they said. And so me and Kiki heard it, and so Kiki already knew. But then I guess after Chelsea told me about it, that's when I was like, okay, I gotta if Chelsea believes this, then I probably gotta go talk to Dane about it, because I trust the Dane more than like anybody else besides Kiki.
Right.
Yeah.
How much do we love that their hand symbol means lesbian?
I think it's hilarious, but I mean, it would be funnier if they like knew the whole time, but they had no idea.
No, that's what makes it funny, that they didn't know.
I think it'd be funnier if they knew and they still did it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, sure, that's true. BB Boston wants to know, if you played again, what would you do differently?
If I played again, and I mean, knowing what I knew, I think that the first half of the game, I don't know, it's hard to say, because I think I attracted myself to the right people, to the people that I trust, to the people that were like truthful with me, or at least had my back, such as like Mackie, Kiki, and Damien. And I think that if we had won a lot more competitions, maybe Dane would have been more open to working with other people, but because neither of us were winning, then like obviously put him in a weird situation.
Right.
Other than that, I feel like the first half of my game was fine, but then the moment that Kiki left, I just kind of shut down and sat back, because I thought that would be better for me, because all of a sudden, like, I'm losing people that have my back. And so I just want everybody else to go against each other before I hopefully someday win something, and then was able to say my piece and do what I wanted. And so now, knowing what I know, I wish I would have been more vocal and actually been a little bit more like hard and maybe a little bit more savage like the rest of the people were playing, and remind myself that I'm in the big brother house and that these things happen. And, it seemed a little bit too kumbaya for a minute, but yeah, I would be a little bit more savage, I think.
Now, speaking of that, I see New Jersey Girl said one of the moments where we fans wished you were a little more savage was after the Kira and Anthony kind of blow up in the kitchen, which Anthony said was kind of a show for you. And then we watched him take you into the have-not room and just chew your ear off. New Jersey Girl wants to know, what were you thinking during that exchange and that conversation with Anthony?
The whole time in my head, as he was talking, I honestly didn't talk that much because I was just thinking, BS, 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 BS. And I didn't believe anything that came out of his mouth. And that's why when he was sitting down and he said, let's take this relationship a little bit as like a step further. Let's like build up more trust. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. But I never talked to him again after that about game, because I was like, this guy knows exactly what he's doing. I know what he's saying. I can see what he's trying to do, and I don't trust him. So I didn't feel comfortable going to him and telling him anything about what I was thinking game-wise. And yeah, I don't know. That whole time, I knew he was spitting out a bunch of lies, so...
Okay. Cheyenne Hera, I believe, wants to know now. Well, she wants to know, what do you think of the Kiki and John relationship? John Party. What now? Patrons knew this days ago, but it has now come out on Twitter of the Kiki and John Party relationship. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that honestly, Kiki seems so happy. They both seem so happy together. Obviously, like it's fresh and it's new, but they both seem to be really enjoying each other's times. And he seems like such a sweet dude. And I'm just like, I'm so happy for her. I couldn't be any happier. And I hope that things work out in the long haul, and that, they continue to fall in love with each other and to just loving each other and enjoying each other's presence. And I hope that it goes far for both of them.
Now, if you had to, I think obviously the obvious answer here is, well, maybe it won't be the obvious answer. If you could have had a showmance with anyone in the house, who would it have been? Or would you not have had any showmances? And I mean like a real showmance. Like, we're going to get to the whole you and Dane thing, but I mean like a real showmance. I saw a few people were asking, who would you have wanted to have a showmance with?
I think that I wouldn't have done a real showmance with anybody. Before going into the house, I actually said, I'm going to find a guy and I'm going to try to play him. But I'm not for any like real showmances.
Yes. And I think it's, it's a double-edged sword. It is going to put a target on your back. Flip side is, it's going to be a number you can always count on for the most part. So yeah, it is a double-edged sword. What did you, a few people were asking this, what do you think is your best game move, or was your best game move this season?
Oh God, honestly, I freaking sucked this season. Like, I tried to do things at the first half and nothing worked. Like, the second week, I wish I could have said was fighting for Mackie and making sure he stayed, and I fought, but he didn't stay. Other than that, I think that maybe the week that Corey was HOH, I felt like I made sure that Corey knew that, or like, I told her the truth about what had happened with Sam and the whole backdoor thing. I told her my piece, and I could have been quiet about it because at the end of the day, I thought I was going to be safe because Dane was doing his part. But I think that like just breaking it all down for Corey and making sure that Sam went home. Obviously, like in retrospect, I wish that Sam would have stayed and taken out the guys. But at the time, that's what I wanted to happen, and that's what ended up happening.
So let's talk about, Dane for a moment, because obviously that was part of the storyline, like you and Dane. Now, I never called it a showmance. I called it more like a flirtmance.
Yes, that is exactly what I call it.
Yeah, it's more like a flirtmance. You guys weren't like a full-blown, whatever. So, let's start with, how do you feel about the fact that he knew you were going home but didn't tell you?
So upsetting, especially after Mark came to the jury house and explained it all for me. It made me even more mad that he knew all along that I was leaving. I wish that he would have, I don't know, like I feel like I understand his loyalty to the guys, but I also feel like he could have given me like either a heads up or just been like giving me a push. Like I didn't expect him to fight for me, but I wish he would have been like, like there's a real possibility of you going home. And he said that to me the day before, like the morning of the eviction day. But if he had said that to me way before, I think maybe I would have tried a little bit harder. But I was very upset. I hated the fact that he didn't tell me. And even like 30 minutes before, I wish him or Damien would have told me that I was going to be the one leaving.
Now, I mean, obviously, and this is what I love about players like you, yet that didn't affect your vote.
Yeah.
You still voted for who you felt played the best game. You didn't vote better. So I just think, A, you deserve a ton of respect for that. I think we so appreciate when people vote, based on game. So what was that first conversation then that you had with Dane, or have you not talked to Dane at all since the game has ended?
The first thing, I think I talked to him once the finale, when he walked out the doors,
mm-hmm.
and he was just like, I'm sorry. And I was like, it's okay, we'll talk later. And then we talked, and he was just like, I'm sorry. Like, I was loyal to the guys from day one, and that's the way it had to be. Like, I really wanted to keep you, but like, I just couldn't keep you around because the rest of the guys, like, were loyal to the dudes, and
right.
I couldn't hold it against him because, like I said, even though he wasn't loyal to me, I respect the fact that he was loyal to the guys, or at least most of them.
Right.
And it's fine, no hard feelings.
Okay, I love no hard feelings. So friends, there's not anybody, I know a lot of people are going to ask this in different ways too. Do you feel like you will stay in touch with everybody from your season? Is there anybody that you think, I don't see us being friends? Or do you feel like, yeah, I can have a relationship with anybody once, now that the season's over?
I think that, I honestly grew to love like everybody in the house despite anything that might have happened. However, I've learned, like, when I was in the house, I was like, yeah, we're all going to stay like best friends forever. But like 2 weeks out, or like a week and a half, however long it's been now, I've definitely kept in touch with some people more than others. And it's not because I don't love everybody else, but it's just hard keeping in touch with everybody, and everybody's going in different directions. And so obviously I'm still close to the people that I was closest to in the house.
Right. And I mean, I think that's just life. I think just life, there's obviously going to be people that we get along more with and not as much with. Courtney wants to know, were you surprised that Dane won by unanimous vote?
I was not surprised because as we talked in the jury, I think that a lot of people in the jury really prioritized or made it important to note that competition wins were very important to all of us. Okay. And I knew the moment that Adam came to the jury house or walked out the door, I knew that all of a sudden you're going to have Kira, Dane, and Anthony. And out of those three, if Dane makes it to the end, he's going to have a much easier time getting the votes. However, with Corey, I think that it might have been very difficult for her to not vote for Anthony. I think in her heart, she maybe might have wanted to because they had such a close friendship. But Corey's also like she loves competition and she really respects that. So I also didn't expect her to vote for Anthony. So I wasn't surprised necessarily.
Okay. Were you surprised that, we're going to go back to your jury house thoughts in 1 second, but let me just ask this one too, since I have it right here. So were you shocked that Anthony got no votes? Like, would you say that surprised you, or you were pretty sure that in the scenario that played out at Dane versus Anthony, he wouldn't get any either?
I mean, I want to say that I was like 99% sure that Dane was going to be the one getting all the votes. I wouldn't have been absolutely shocked if he got 1 or 2 votes, maybe from Kira and then from Corey. But yeah, I also wasn't surprised that they didn't vote for Anthony.
Did you guys hear each other's questions, or did you know that Corey was going to, do her finesse me, Anthony, in her question?
Well, I knew that she was going to have a lot of sass with her questions because we would talk about it in the house, and she was obviously not very happy with Anthony because she wholeheartedly trusted him. And so she just wanted to put him on the spot. And the moment that, that Mark talked to us about how Anthony would always talk about finessing Corey and all these things. So we were like, okay, this is your word and this is how you're going to put him on the spot. And yeah, she ended up doing it. So yeah, it was fun to watch.
Okay, so now let's go back because we kind of saw, I think it was your ET interview that you guys did from the jury house, where you, like what you were just saying a moment ago, you guys were all kind of valuing, all right, so comp wins are more important than this or that. Was there like an order for you specifically in your brain where you were like, if this person is sitting in final two, he wins over everyone else? So, like, what was that order for you?
So for me, so is this once they're like the final four, you mean?
Yeah. So final four.
Yeah. So definitely I did have an order in my head. However, I always knew that out of those four, I thought that Dane played the better game because socially, I thought that Dane had done a little bit better than Adam. That Adam was an incredible comp beast and he was incredibly loyal, which is super respectable. And that's why I think people in the house were also really wanting Adam to win. However, when I'm looking at the social aspect of it, Dane made everybody believe that they were safe with Dane,
right.
Which to me like says a lot about their social game. And I also obviously felt a little bit of like, I guess like my friendship with Dane had grown so much in the house that I felt like I owed that to him as well, despite however bitter I was. And I didn't ever question that his friendship with me wasn't real. And so I obviously wanted Dane to win. However, I knew that if he was next to Adam was probably going to be winning. And I knew that, yeah.
No, go ahead. No, you keep going.
Okay. And then if Dane was sitting next to Anthony, Dane was going to win. And if Dane's sitting next to Kira, Dane was going to win. So the only scenario where Dane was not going to win if it was next to Adam. And then if it was Anthony and Kira in the final two, I think that Anthony was probably going to be the one getting my vote.
Okay, so wait, are you saying that if it are for your vote, if it is Dane and Anthony sitting there, who gets your vote? Not Dane and Anthony, Dane and Adam. If Dane and Adam are sitting there, who gets your vote? It's okay. It didn't happen, so it doesn't matter.
But I was even having difficulty with this while I was in the jury house because I really truly believe that if Adam had won the final three, he would have taken Dane, and I knew that I would have probably been one of the only people voting for Dane, or one of the few people voting for Dane. And so, but at the same time, I thought Adam also deserved it. So honestly, I don't know what I would have done. I think maybe in the end I would have ended up voting for Dane still, but I don't know. It's hard. Is
there a scenario where it could have been any pretty boy sitting next to Anthony and you would have given Anthony the win?
I think that if Anthony had sat next to Mark, yeah.
Okay, so Anthony next to Kira, who would you give it to?
I would have given it to Anthony.
Okay. All right, no, that's fun. I always like to know what you guys would have done in the alternate scenarios of how it all played out, because that is
and that's what we think about Dane and I when we're like in the jury house. I'm just like, it's stressful.
Did you know, Courtney J wants to know, did you know that Adam said Damien might have been a pretty boy if he wasn't the last one in the house? Had that happened, do you think the game would have played out differently for you?
Yeah, I feel like if it had been Damien and the pretty boys, I think that obviously my relationship with Damien would have been a whole lot different.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been, I don't know, I think I would have had a harder time, and I would have had one less person to play by my side in the house if Damien had been part of that.
Right. What did you think about Damien having all the powers? What was it like finding that out afterwards, that he, Canada gave him 2 powers in the game that I want to say people would argue, but we really can't argue. He really didn't do anything with the power.
Well, I think it's amazing. I wasn't surprised that he was the one that was chosen by Canada because he's so lovable, and I think he has a whole community supporting him back at home.
Right.
However, yeah, I think he was maybe put in a difficult position because a lot of the time he couldn't say or talk about what he had seen. And at the same time, I think that because he couldn't necessarily hear what was actually happening the times that he got those powers, he couldn't hear what they were saying.
Right.
He probably didn't know the full story, and so it led him to believe that maybe he was working with the boys and that they did have his back, and so he didn't obviously want to risk it by saying anything more than he needed to.
And I guess on that, going back for 1 second, I see Sparkly Eye in the chat says, do you kind of think it would have been the same situation with Mackie? Had Mackie ended up staying, do you feel like that could have helped his game and your game as well?
If he had stayed?
Yes, if Mackie had
Oh my god, absolutely. I think that Mackie was one of the few people that literally, like, that actually gave Adam a run for his money in the competitions. I think that he would have done fantastic, and having that extra vote in the house, obviously, like numbers are power, and like it's not just about competitions, and having him in the house would just give me one other person that has my back, and I think that I would have ended up trusting him a lot. I mean, I already did, but I think he would have gotten the hang of the game, because obviously he was so new to the game, and so it was hard for him, but once he started to understand the game, I think that he would have done so good, and me too, because I would have been next to him. I mean, who knows what would have happened, but I think it would have been easier to navigate through it.
Lost and Concruised wants to know, we asked what you thought your best game move was. What is your biggest regret about how the biggest regret that you have in the game, or how you played the game? What's your biggest regret? Lost and Concruised wants to know.
I guess my biggest regret, and not necessarily my regret doesn't necessarily deal with how I played the game, but my biggest regret is not lying on the floor during the blood veto and saying, you guys, let me know when you're ready to give me the veto, because I was the only person in that room, and I'm still mad about it when I think about it. I was the only person who wanted to fight for it, and nobody was willing to have a conversation about the blood veto. And so after 5 minutes of me just being just trying to see why I should get it, and everybody was like, no, Kira. I was like, you know what, guys, you all suck, whatever, take it. And I got so pissed, but I really wish if I had known that Anthony wasn't going to have my back, and that Sam actually didn't really care about which one left, because I thought Kiki was going to be staying. So if I had known that they actually wanted Kiki out, I would have stayed there all night until they gave me the veto.
Yeah, I think a lot of us wish that had played out a little bit differently. Yeah. Going back to Damien's power, Susie A wants to know, what do you think you would have done had you had the information that Damien had? So do you think you would have kind of kept it to yourself, or do you think you would have used it right from week 1 to go after the pretty boys?
Well, you know what, the thing is that I don't think that there was any sound in that power, and so I still wouldn't have known a whole lot about what was going on. I think that maybe it would have given me a little bit more reassurance about what Kira said and what Kiki was suspecting and what Chelsea then told me, and so maybe it would have given me more confidence in the fact that, maybe this is a real thing, maybe we do need to go after the boys. So yeah, maybe it would have changed how the game went later on.
Do you wish, I'm going to take it from Diane, BB Feeds fan, do you wish that you would have joined with more girls or tried to form a girls' alliance looking back now?
Oh my god, absolutely. If I knew that this was going to be a boys versus everybody else in the house, I definitely would have lined myself up better with Chelsea, and then also bring Sam in. I think that would have been really cool to be with Kiki, Chelsea, and Sam.
Yeah. So Kiki, Chelsea, Sam is who would have been your 4-person alliance with you. Yeah. Love it. Oh god, you have so many questions. Rod Carson wants to know, what did you find out once you got out of the house that you didn't know was going on when you were in the house?
I think that Adam and Dane trying to convince Damien to vote me out so that it didn't have to be a split vote. Mm-hmm. That made me so mad, because I would have loved, even if I had a split, even if it was 2 and 2, it would have been better than just getting a 3-1 vote and sending me out. And I would have loved to see Adam get up and having to vote me out. And I think that maybe if it was a 2-2, maybe he would have thought about it a little bit more. Who knows? But I just hate the fact that Dane was in on that. I'm trying to get Damien to vote me out.
Yeah, I don't know that it would have helped.
Yeah,
I don't think
the idea of it is, yeah.
No, I like it. And more, let's crank up the stress on you guys. There is not enough. There is not enough in there. Going back to that, I see Deb wants to know, why do you think that a girls' alliances don't work out in the game?
I think that normally because girls, I don't know, I think that girls just have trouble maybe just like fully trusting each other more than, because like I feel like with girls we all got to do a lot of talking, and then for guys it's just like, you know, you say this and I'm going to take your word for it and that's fine, and then they move on. I think that for girls we maybe need a little bit more reassurance at times, and that maybe like oftentimes we're a little bit more emotional than guys, which I think it's an okay thing, but in a game like Big Brother it's not necessarily the best thing. So yeah, I think maybe that's why they don't work out as well as guy alliances.
Kayla Hart wants to know, who would you have taken to Final 2? So if you could have had the choice to bring anyone to Final 2, let's just say you made it to, you know, Final 4, and whoever you want is there with you, who would you have brought in to Final 2? And let's say, with the way people's records are now. So let's just say with Dane having the record that Dane had, with everyone having the records that they had when they exited the game, who would you have brought to Final 2 if you could have brought anyone at any point? It could be Mackie, could be Laura.
I would have taken Kiki. I think that early on in the game, that was like my plan to go to Final 2 with her. Mm-hmm. That would have been wonderful to see because, you know, whether whoever got the 20, whoever got the 100, I think it would have been so nice to be like, you know, me and you, we made it this far. Like, this is amazing. Right. But then, so Kiki, but then if, let's say that if I was in the final 7, which is like where I was, and the same people were in there in the final 7 as there was, my plan towards the end was to take Damien to the final 2.
To take Damien to the final 2.
This is if Kiki had been evicted.
Really? And what would your pitch have been to Jury over Damien? Just that. Well, I'm gonna let you say. Why do you think? I guess what I'm asking is, why do you think you could have beaten Damien in the final 2?
Well, in my head, obviously, if I'm the one taking someone to the final 2, it means that I'm the one who won those competitions. And so, first of all, that right there, that's the most important HOH win of the season. Mm-hmm. I got myself here. I took Damien here. Damien also, at that point, he had 1 veto win and nothing else. So, assuming that it had stayed the same competition-wise, it wouldn't be that hard, or it wouldn't be hard to beat him on that respect. And then socially, I think that I also just built maybe I did more talking than Damien did, because Damien was such a quiet dude. He's so chill, he's so nice, and he was just very trusting. Whereas me, I think that at least in the first half of the game, I did a lot more talking, and so I would probably also try to use that in my speech in the end.
Okay, no, I like it. Maximus' mom wants to know, how does Esty feel about the moment she told Anthony about the Guys Alliance in the bathroom? And why did you refuse to believe the girls, not Dan? Now, I don't know who Dan is. Probably she means Dave. Wait, there's one more sentence, and then it says, please, will you block me on Twitter? Go ahead. How would you like to reply?
Unblock or block?
No, block. She wants you to block her. Please block. No, she didn't say that. I just try and convince the house guests to block her all the time. So how do you feel about the moment that you told Anthony about the Guys Alliance in the bathroom?
So, obviously, at the time, I thought it was a big joke that there was a Guys Alliance because of the way the guys played it out to be. They did fantastic at that. But once I got out, I watched the clip, and I was just so mad at myself because it was just so embarrassing watching me, make a joke about something that was actually happening, and then watching Anthony, joke back and just play pretend with me. So it sucked. It was a very sucky feeling, but at the same time, I couldn't do anything else but just laugh at myself because it was a game at the end of the day. But right. Yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't great.
I think it was Becca who wanted to know, how do you feel? Well, have you watched any of the show back yet?
I watched 2 seasons and just random clips that fans have shown me.
You mean you watched 2 episodes so far?
Yeah, sorry, 2 episodes. Yeah.
Okay, so you watched 2 episodes. So I think it was Becca who wanted to know, what do you think of your edit so far? What do you think of how you've been portrayed to the audience so far?
Honestly, I can't say too much about it because I've only watched the first 2 episodes, and in those 2 episodes, I wasn't a big part of the edits. And I have seen some clips of myself, and in those I was just kind of like my light, like bubbly self, and I don't really know what else. I think that maybe, I don't know. I honestly, it's hard to say because I haven't seen enough.
Right, you haven't seen enough. So we're gonna go with you loved your edit. We're gonna go with she loved it. Jess wants to know, who are your favorite past house guests from Big Brother US or from Big Brother Canada?
From Canada, I loved Cassandra and Joel, and I loved Bruno, and then I really loved Kevin and. Let's see, from last season, I loved Paris, and who else? And then from the there's a lot of people that I love, but those are just the ones that are popping in my head right now.
Okay.
And from last season, from the like American seasons, I really liked Haley, and Tyler was also pretty cool. And yeah, those are probably the ones that are just sticking out the most to me.
Okay. Now, there is, a lot of rumbling. There is a lot of rumbling that it might be all-stars for our Big Brother this summer, and people feel like you guys are due for an all-stars. So, who are, 2 or 3 people, I know that who you just said were your favorites, but if there were 2 or 3 people that you knew you got to put into a Big Brother Canada All-Star season, who would they be?
Kiki.
You have to drink for this one.
Sorry, take the middle finger. I'm so sorry.
People do it all the time. Go ahead.
Kiki, Mackie, and then Kayla. And yeah, 3. There you go.
Okay. And I guess, would you be willing, I see from chat, would you play again? Would you go back and do it again?
I would so put myself through that crazy house again, because honestly, it was such a crazy experience. It was so fun, and doing it once was amazing, but doing it twice, it would be a whole other gameplay. And I think that I've learned a lot from my first time in the house that maybe I could just remind myself or learn from in my second time around.
Right. Why? A lot of people feel like Corey is maybe missing.
Okay.
I see a lot of people in chat were saying, ask Esty if she's heard from Corey or if she knows why none of us have heard from her postseason.
So Corey, she messaged me the other day. She was off social media for a while. I think that she's not doing it on purpose. I think it's just who she is. Before she went into the house, she was never a social media kind of person. And I think that she's sticking to herself in that regard. Whereas maybe the rest of us did use social media a lot more. And so we continue to do it now. So I think that I don't think it's on purpose. I think it's just who she is. And she's a busy person too.
Well, I have a very special announcement to make, Esty.
What?
Corey will be here with us on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, taking your guys' questions live.
Oh, so she's not in hiding. She's coming out.
She's coming out here, everybody. Now, I have a very serious and very important question from Date My Mom, or from Great Dane's mom. And I share her feelings on this question as well. Okay. Great Dane Mom would like to know, Esty, why in the world would you ever put Dane's disgusting fake teeth in your mouth? I don't care if he would have dipped it in hand sanitizer before he gave that to you.
Listen, you're not the first person to ask me that. I've gotten a lot of questions about this.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. Okay. Number one, he brushed his teeth before I did that. He brushed it right in front of me, and second of all, I don't get grossed out very easily. I'm not that kind of person. I feel like whatever, like it doesn't, like, it's clean and who cares? Like, I'm too easy going with that stuff. Like, it's fine. So I didn't see it as a big deal. I just thought it was hilarious. And you know what? I gave you guys something to talk about, so you're welcome.
You did. You gave us a lot to talk about with that one, Esty. You gave us a lot to talk about. I also cannot believe that we've, almost been talking for 50 minutes. We need to start wrapping up this show. I'm going to ask you a few more questions. Don't worry. I want to let you... Wait, you what?
It feels like we've been talking for 5 minutes.
I know, it always goes this way. It's been 50.
I was sorry, Kiki was you're gonna have so much fun, it's gonna be amazing, because she had a lot of fun with you too. So I was okay.
We're fun. And I can't even take the credit for it. I really, I do these shows for, the fans of you and for the fans so that they have a way to get their questions. I always feel horrible that I can't get to all of them. But, like I said, that is a great reason for them to follow you on social media, but we're going to get to that in a few minutes. Let me take a few more fun ones for you. And then then we go to the patron after show, and, I have to explain to you the rules of that show after. Let me go with, why did you, this is from Jessica, why did you not believe Chelsea when she told you there was a guy alliance? And how come you weren't more shocked when you found out that her hand gesture was spot on too?
I didn't believe her because I thought that information had came from Kira, who I didn't trust in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I also thought that this was a last minute thing that she was trying to grill into me in order for us to save her that week. And then on top of that, I knew, me and Kiki talked about this, and we were spot on about the guys that were trying to work together. So I knew that the guys were working together. I didn't know though that they were so loyal to each other above everything else, because while she was talking to me, I was you know what? That might be true, but at the end of the day, Dane has my back.
Right.
And so that's all that really mattered to me at the time, and I didn't want to do anything that was going to kind of get in between mine and Dane's relationship in the game, because as long as he had my back, he was winning comps, he was good with people, I thought I would be safe. And so I didn't want to pay too much attention to it. And why I wasn't more shocked when this was spot on. I was very shocked. When I think you guys might have seen the goodbye messages when I exited the house, and I was just this when they were this is a real thing. So I think that I was very shocked. Yeah.
Was there any part of you, because I remember you being shocked, but I don't remember if you believed it or not. I don't know why I'm feeling didn't you not believe it at first? Or was it just all the shock of the moment? Or did you really believe when they were telling you that in the goodbye messages, yeah, this has got to be for real?
I think that when I first saw it, what ran through my head was, you know what? They might have came up with that after Chelsea and Kira said it, and then they were oh, it would be funny if we just went along with it and made it our thing.
Mm-hmm.
So part of me at first was just okay, maybe it's not actually how it started. They didn't start it. It was Chelsea and Kira who actually started that sign for them. But then obviously I took it all in, and I went to the jury house, and especially after Mark came in, then everything just became very clear.
Yes. So, okay, now speaking of Anthony, I've been trying, a lot of people have asked this in a lot of ways. I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off.
Okay.
I've been sitting here trying to think of how am I going to ask this in a clever way. I'm just going to ask you. Because I think you've probably seen or heard, or you might have experienced some of it. How do you feel about the way Anthony spoke to the people in the house? Do you feel like he was condescending to you guys at times? Or how did you feel about the way he interacted? I should just say with you specifically. How did you feel about your interactions with Anthony in the game?
With me specifically, I never felt like bad about the way that he was speaking to me. I feel like because I did trust, like, for the majority of the house, me and Anthony had a good relationship, or at least like it seemed like it from my side. So I think that the way that he talked to me might have been lighter, and he might have been trying to play into the way that I felt like about him in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't think he was ever like condescending or anything like that towards me. And so it's funny because I did get out of the house and I got a lot of questions about that. And a lot of people was like, wow, like, is Anthony really like that? And to that, I was always like, no, like, he was a very nice guy in the house. And I still think very highly of him. I think that the game maybe just like made him act a certain way in the house, just like it did to the majority of us.
Right.
And so, yeah, I never felt badly about the way he was speaking to me. However, there was one conversation that's still grilled in the back of my head that I hate him for. Like, I don't actually hate him, but like, I was very upset at the moment, but I didn't say anything because I wanted him to think that I still like trusted him completely.
Mm-hmm.
There was one conversation where we were in the have not room, and he was talking to me. It was after Kiki had left, and I was asking him like why he wanted Kiki gone, and the way that he spoke to me about Kiki made me so mad. And that was probably the only time that I actually hated the way that he was talking, but it never really happened again to me.
Right. And totally fine now, outside of the house, in the real world, you guys are totally fine.
Oh yeah. We have been talking a lot, so yeah, he's awesome.
Okay. Is there any previous competitions from like other seasons? Because again, we know that you're a fan of the show that you didn't get to be a part of that you wish you could have played at.
Yeah, the one competition that I was really excited about was the one. It's like where I guess they got like a weird version of it this season, but it's the one with like a round board and there's pegs, and Kayla got to play in it, and like Derek and Will got to play in it, where they were just like standing in with a bunch of pegs and they had to take a peg out every so often.
Right. And you had it this season, but right, you didn't get to play.
It was different. It was a little bit different, but I also didn't even get to play in that one.
Yeah, because that was fine. That's usually Final Four, right?
Yeah, I think I would have been okay at it because I think that because I'm so small and also like flexible that I could have like, I don't know, like maneuvered my way through it and like held myself up. But yeah, I was hoping I would play in that one.
I really need to try doing that one day in real life because every time I feel like I watch that competition, I just go, I don't get what we're all struggling about.
Yo, before going into the house, I was like, I'm going to be like, it's going to be fine. And before you, like, when you're standing in front of whatever competition you're doing and you're thinking in your head, like, this is going to be great. Like, I think I could actually pull through. And then you do it and you, like, it's so hard. It's so hard.
Oh, I'm sure I would fail miserably. Just when I specifically look at that one, I'm like, standing is hard now? Standing and moving your arms are hard? I don't know why this one's hard. Do you have any questions? I love this from Melanie. Do you have any questions about anything you wish you could have clarification on? Like I said, tons of your live feed watchers are here right now in the audience. Is there anything that like you had a question about or wish you knew more clarity on that you would want to know an answer to? And if you don't, it's okay. You don't have to have a question.
I guess the one thing that I always wondered was if Chelsea really intended, like before putting Kiki up on the block, if she actually wanted Kiki gone, or if the whole time the plan was to get Mama K out.
Okay, chat room. Was the plan the whole time to get Mama K out, or no? Because I don't really remember. I feel like I know what I would say the answer is, but I want to see what chat. It is interesting The majority of the people are saying that, yes, that was the plan. So I guess to get Mama K out originally was the plan. Yes, getting Mama K out was the plan always. Yes, that was the plan. Our town says Mama K, and I'm still bitter about it. So yes, I guess that was the plan the whole time. Only two people said no, that was not the plan. So now we will not take questions from them anymore. Womp womp. Sorry, Power of Cheeto. Actually, Power of Cheeto, that's not true. Years coming up. Okay, I love this question from our town, and he wants to know: is there anything that you learned about yourself coming out of this whole Big Brother experience that you didn't know about yourself before you started playing this game?
I think that before going into the house, in some of my interviews, I would tell people that I was going to be a great liar, that I was going to be great at like manipulating people and just like doing all these things, just because I guess like and like go like just lying to people straight up and going against people and like maybe being a little bit more savage, because I guess like in my junior high days, like, you know, like that was like part of like what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And so I realized that I honestly have like wholeheartedly changed who I am. And I thought that it would be easy kind of like reverting back to those days. And I realized that, you know what, no, like I didn't just kind of like add the good aspects of who I am. The bad ones have kind of like been far gone. And
right.
Yeah, I think I learned that this is who I am, and I can't go back to that person anymore.
Now, I totally forgot to ask you this, and people are going to kill me because they do love to know this. Would you ever do Survivor?
100%. I would do it. But, okay, so living on an island with like nothing to live with, honestly, I think I would be so good at that.
Okay.
And like finding resources and building things, because I love it. It's like, it's a dream of mine. However, getting to the competitions, I would be so scared that my team will absolutely hate me, because those competitions are hardcore, but I would still give it a shot.
Okay. What about Amazing Race?
Even better.
Who would you do Amazing Race with?
Kiki!
If it couldn't be Kiki, who would you pick?
I would probably do it with Mackie or Dane.
Okay, I like that. Mackie or Dane. All right. Here's what we like to do on this part of the show. I like to give you a full screen so that you can say whatever it is that you want to say to all of your fans watching. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to go over your social media and where they can follow you and stuff like that. However, I do have a question from Power of Cheeto first, who wants to know, can you do the whole message in your demon voice?
Oh my god!
I'm kidding, you do not have to do the whole message in your demon voice. But let me just let everybody know really quickly, before I give you full screen. Again, if you guys missed any of our previous shows, you can check them all out over at yourrealityrecaps.com/bbcan. And of course, if you didn't get to see this show live, you should be a fan over on YouNow. You will get alerted every single time we go live. It's completely free. You can hang out in the chat room, ask your questions. To the house guests, we have Damien on tomorrow, Mark on Sunday. Or you guys can subscribe there. You can become a subscriber on YouNow, and then you can watch all of our shows back. You don't have to wait for me to edit them and put them on the website and iTunes and everywhere else. So the choice is yours. Speaking of iTunes and YouTube, if you guys are watching back on YouTube, make sure you thumbs up and subscribe, hit that bell, leave a comment below, iTunes, 5-star rating, and a nice review. That, as well as sharing our stuff wherever you see it on social media, liking it, retweeting it, sharing it to your friends. Those are all great free ways to help support our shows. Of course, if you want to financially help support our shows, consider becoming a patron at yourrealityrecaps.com/patron. Patrons get access to the patron-only group, prize giveaways, weekly shows just for patrons, and of course, the after shows that we've been doing with all the house guest. Or you could always do a one-time donation at yourrealityrecaps.com/PayPal. Without your guys' support, we won't be able to keep covering these shows in the same ways that we do. And there's so much we want to do going into Big Brother 21. Our flashback times, our 24/7 live feed updaters, our daily live feed recap shows with the house guests. So we hope that you will support us so that we can keep doing that. Of course, we're covering Amazing Race right now, Bravo, RuPaul's Drag Race. We're also doing all of that. Of course, if you have any Amazon shopping to do, make sure you use our link, yourrealityrecaps.com/Amazon, to start your shopping. You don't pay any more. We get a little bit back where you can click the Amazon ad, whatever Amazon ad is currently in the side. As long as it's for Amazon, it'll bring you right there. You can do that as well. Or click on any of the ads around our website. That really helps us out when you guys do that. And of course, lastly, if you like late night gaming, check us out on Twitch. We are always usually raging about some game and in horrible moods, but hey, people apparently like it. Now, that being said, let me give Esty full screen. Now, I also want to say this. I know the audio is off with Esty. It is Canada. It is not great Wi-Fi on a cellular signal, so I do apologize. There is nothing wrong. I should have put this in the beginning of the show, but no. If the audio seems off with Esty and stuff, that is why. There really isn't anything we can do about fixing Canadian Wi-Fi. I'm working on it. Become a patron, and I'll fix Canadian Wi-Fi. That being said, Esty, what do you want to say to all of your fans watching?
Okay, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for your support and for your love. I have so many messages, and I promise you, I've read every single one of them. I'm taking my time to reply to all of you so that, you know, they're actually heartfelt and that they mean something, not just like send you a weird emoji. But I just want to say thank you for the love. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. If you can take anything away from me, it's just to be kind to one another and to be compassionate and to help others and to be the best you. And yeah, that's it. I hope that you continue to join me in my life. And yeah, that's it. Maybe I'll see you in another season someday.
Maybe you will. Now, where do you want people to follow you on social media? Do you like Instagram more, Twitter more?
So 2 platforms where I'm more active than anywhere, and that is YouTube and Instagram.
Okay.
And also Twitter, I do go on it often. So I guess 3. I'm going to choose those 3.
Okay.
So you want me to...
I was going to say your Twitter is right above you, but go ahead and say it for the people that are listening to audio in the future.
Perfect. So honestly, I don't even know what my Twitter name is. It's like Stephania or just BBCan7, something
Correct.
like that. Perfect. I got it. And then my Instagram is Stephania Ojos with 2 S's in my last name.
Mm-hmm.
And then my YouTube is just my full name is Stephania Ojos, and you'll see a photo of me, and that's who it is.
Okay, and I'm going to put the links to all of your social medias below this version if you're watching back the edited version in the future. Check out the links below this video. Congratulations to Michelle, who is the #1 fan on this show. Congratulations. Michelle, we will follow up with you. Thank you so much, everybody who came out here and hung out and talked to Esty. We love you. We appreciate it. Patrons, we're going to be in the patron group in about 2 minutes. And then everybody else, I will see you guys back here tomorrow night with Damien at 6 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour earlier. Thank you again so much, Esty, for taking time to talk to us. Bye, everybody. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.